morning, everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Eita. It's such a pleasure to be here today and to be alive as well. This is the 30th of September, and it's also the last day in September in 2021. And I believe that it's always going to be a great morning. And we just want to thank God for all His mercies and His goodness upon our lives. And we would like to say that we're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. The Good Morning Education Show is a show that we bring to you to help to uplift, engage, empower, and also inform all stakeholders and participants and practitioners within and around the world of education. And we try to do a lot of conversation and troubleshooting, of course, taking the headlines into perspective. And then we have experts and associates who come in from time to time. They're spread across the world. We have experts and analysts from the US, we have from the UK, we have from Nigeria, we have from across Africa. And I believe that it's going to be a great time. We always have opportunity for them to share their thoughts, their views, their exposure on the subject matter. And we welcome you, yes, we welcome you to contribute by making your comments known. Tell us how you feel about the conversation of the day. And if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask your questions. We will be available to treat the question. And I believe that at the end of the day, it promises to be a great show. Just if you're wondering, the Good Morning Education Show is no longer Monday to Friday. It's now Mondays to Sundays. All through to Sundays, we are always here. Mondays to Fridays, you catch us for 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Saturday is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And of course, Sunday is 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And don't miss this show for anything. If you miss it, watch the replay. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make it a point of duty to do so today. Subscribe to our channel. Follow our analysts. Get to be a part of this show in the real sense of it. And I believe you have a great time as well. And without wasting much time, we have a Thursday that can be considered a blue Thursday for someone. And she's getting set to show herself in a blue sky. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Blue Bolu Fallow. Good morning.
I don't know about Dr. Blue, but good morning, everyone. Good morning, our tribe members, and welcome to the show this morning. It's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. And good morning, Omotola.
Good morning, team. Good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Can you hear me? Good
All
morning.
right. So, Dr. Motola, good morning to you.
Yeah, I was saying good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yes, I can hear you. Um, okay. I'm not sure if this is me alone, but I don't seem to be hearing anything. All right. We will be starting off with the headlines from the dailies this morning. Uh, the headlines that have to do with education and in the dailies this morning. That's what we're starting with. And the first one, UBEC, billions spent on education not yielding results. Hamid Boboyi, the executive secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, Dr. Hamid Boboyi, has raised concern over the poor outcomes from the education sector, despite the billions of naira spent on basic education in Nigeria. Boboyi said the billions being channeled into the basic education sector has not adequately correlated with learning outcomes. The UBEC boss said the 2021-2022 National Assessment on Learning Achievements in Basic Education will also evaluate the impact of the multi-billion naira annual interventions at the basic education level. There is a lot that can be said about this headline and about what we have read in the body of the news, but well, maybe I throw it open to the House. What your comments are.
So, can you hear me? I'll say that it's not enough to lament. This is not news. So that's what is that's why I said that this is not news. This is the status quo. That is just the truth of the matter. Beyond just lamenting about it, what are they planning to do? What is he planning to do? What is she trying to like say that how can we change things? So I think it's not enough to just complain. We need to move from complaining. Complaining is the status quo. Complaining is the normal. What is the abnormal that is going to be done in terms of tackling this or changing this and making it better? So that would be the more question that I will pose to the person complaining that yes, everybody complains, but that has not done anything or changed anything for good. So the question is, how can we change it? How can we move forward? So are they proposing solutions instead of just complaining alone? So that would be my own take on this.
Okay, so like the body of the news, I was wondering who the UBEC boss, well, when he said they have put in so much, there are billions of naira that has gone in, and yet they haven't seen results. I'm wondering, like, so who really, how is that? How it's like saying that your house is not in order, and then you're coming out to make the announcement that, oh, my house is not in order. So what do you expect? What exactly do you expect people to say or to do if your house is not in order and you're not saying, oh, this is what I intend to do to put things right? So, well, we're still in that era of trade blaming or blame trading. And here again, we say it. If, as said and as alleged, the billions of naira have gone into the basic education program in the country, then I think what the UBEC boss should be doing is tightening the reins and saying, let's see how we can curb the excesses and let's see how we can make things a lot better. And we welcome to the show this morning, Olumide Olishala. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Finn. Good morning, Dr. Motola. Good morning to our tribe members
Good
out there.
morning. Welcome.
Yes.
Our next headline: 1 year after, school owners yet to benefit from Lagos post-COVID Edu Fund. 1 year after the launch of 5 billion naira post-coronavirus recovery support capital for low-cost private schools in Lagos State to mitigate the negative impact of the pandemic, school owners are yet to benefit from the fund. Recall that the advent of COVID-19 pandemic last year threw up more problems for school owners who were already challenged, heightening fears that most private schools may be forced to close down. To halt the dangerous slide, the federal government came up with 2.3 trillion naira stimulus package, part of which was to address challenges in the education sector. In the same vein, the Lagos State government, in partnership with First Bank, launched a 5 billion naira support capital for education sector to support low-cost private schools across the state. However, 1 year after that, the schools or the school owners are saying that they haven't yet felt the impact of that fund. What are your thoughts on this, Michelle Lumide?
Thank you. Um, I want to believe there are procedures for assessing the fund. Those who have applied, what has been the response they've been able to get from the government? And is it that nobody, I mean, in the absolute term of no school has been able to access, or we have just few who had accessed? Of course, government should, I think they should make a statement in regard to this, because it's not just enough to come out, make publicity, and sound as if you are doing something. I want to believe they meant well and they really wanted to support the schools. But in the other angle to it, I will wish due diligence is followed, because the schools we're even talking about, it is not all the schools that are also sincere who wants to use the money to really finance the school. Then is it a loan or is it a grant? So I think all these things should have been sorted out. And if you didn't apply, you are not expected to be given. If you applied, it doesn't mean everybody will be given. Even if you follow due diligence and it's some merit, going by the amount that has been earmarked and how much is meant to be given to each school, I want to tell you the number of low-cost schools in this country is alarming. And the majority are not even registered. Have they been properly captured? So with these are some of the things we need to find out, and let's be sure if the money has not been disbursed at all, is government just paying lip service, or part of it has been disbursed? Is it that the criteria laid down, many of the schools didn't meet up? So these are the things I think we need to find out. A grant or a loan, and what will be the repayment plan if it's going to be a loan, the years it will take, the interest if there is no interest. These are some of the things that need to be sorted out, and I think the news has not really captured all that. So we can't really make a definite statement indicting the government for not fulfilling its promise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And Omotola, would you want to say anything to that?
Yes, all I could think of was just the contrast between here and Nigeria. And I know that can be unfair at times, because even if we think the years of the country, Nigeria is still a baby. But I still think that there are ways that we can do things right. Remember, when it comes to like bank issues, you guys can remember like since last year or even some years before, where they say that, oh, you have to do these number pin thing. Without it, they'll close down your bank account and everything. So I feel as if the right system and processes are in place, we should not be having this kind of conversation where we're not even sure whether the government has fulfilled their promise, and they do not announce whether this is the number of schools that apply, this is the number of schools that qualify, this is the amount that was disbursed. I think this thing should be the norm, not the exception. And I'm just hoping that we'll continue to put things in place, and as we are leaders, as we get to opportunities, we'll grow and be able to really put things in place that can actually make things better in the education system, and even in structuring and the way. But I feel a bit like what Mr. Mide said, we need more information. We cannot say the government is at fault or not, because there's no data from both sides. No school have said, oh, we applied. Thank you, government. I've not seen any post that said, thank you, federal government, for giving us this fund, COVID-19 relief fund. We've not seen that. And I would not say the government say, oh, this is the number of schools that apply. This is the number that I will give to. So I think on both sides, there needs to be some work that needs to be done for us to know exactly where we can go from here. But right now, there's more unanswered question than answered one. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next headline. Confusion in Kano over promotion of primary 6 pupils. Thousands of pupils who have just completed their basic and primary education in Kano are being denied access to junior secondary schools, investigation has revealed. The pupils, whose mates in private schools have already resumed first term at various secondary schools, are in limbo due to the state government's failure to conduct the yearly common entrance examination. The pupils were supposed to write the promotion examination being conducted by Kano Education Resources Department, KRD, alongside the federal government's entry examinations unity schools, between June and July 2021. However, 2 weeks after commencement of academic activities for the new session, the affected pupils are yet to be sorted. What's your thoughts on this, Omotola?
I just signed a sign of release that like yes, I think things should have been done better than what is being reported right now. And I'm really just hoping that within the next few weeks, they can quickly do the needful and get the students back on track and get them going. But I agree that they have had ample time. And I understand the insecurity that comes from that part of the country. So I'm not taking that lightly. So my question or my suggestion would be, how can we utilize maybe technology going forward? So let's say maybe the reason they couldn't even attend is because of COVID-19, because of insecurity. And is it possible to create another version of this examination that doesn't require students have to show up in person? What does that look like? What is the requirement in terms of system happen? So I really hope that the confusions can be cleared up. And I love the fact that students are even eager enough for this to become a news. Because imagine if they don't care, will not hear about it and will not be having this discussion, it will not be an headline. So I'm glad that there's that growth in like need for education, the value of education in that region for this to become something that we are now discussing that, okay, government, do your part. These people want to go to school. Now sort them out. And so they need to get sorted as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Omotola. And what's your comment on this, Olushola Olumide?
Well, well said there by Dr. Montola. In addition to that, I really want to use this medium to plead with the government to let the children write the exams, especially because you are in Nigeria, so that they don't just wake up tomorrow and just move everybody to the next class. I hope you are aware that seeking employment in government at times warrants the demand for your primary school certificate. Aha. Now, by the time these children will be going to secondary school, 6 years, higher institution, 4, 5 years, after 10 years, and some of them are trying to seek employment in government, and somebody asked them to go and bring primary for school leaving certificate. Here we are, they didn't write that exam, or they were never or were not given the certificate, and they will get stuck along the line. And I want to believe is because some of them couldn't access better education or private education. If you are to be in some maybe Western region and some other places, you just see some of the parents move their words to private schools. They will go and resume GSS1. And these children didn't write primary. It's not because they didn't have the wherewithal to write the exam, or if they write, they won't pass. But due to one reason or the other, the system, the situation at hand can prevent them. Incidentally, there is a secondary school that is willing to absorb them into GSS1, with or without for school leaving certificate. And by the time they are done schooling, they discover that that certificate will be required somewhere, somehow, someday. So they should allow them write it, so that it's about the first certificate the student will be having. Whether it will be needed later or not, I think they should allow them write the exam. Like Dr. Motola has said, maybe there are other means that could be devised where technology is a way to go, only that looking at that climb, and is the infrastructure in place? Do we have manpower to manage? Will the children be readily not they are available, but will they key into that? Would that not lead to more problems? When you talk about ICT, north, in the rural communities, in the hinterland, I tell you, if you've been to those regions, you will you will wonder, when will technology get here? But it is not impossible if there is the will to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I hope that in all of this that they're doing, that they realize that the lives of people are involved here, and whatever it is that they need to do, they do it quick. 2 weeks have gone already in the school, on the school calendar. And well, welcome to the show this morning, Darren Sola.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Fee.
Good morning. Our next headline: Chrisland School educates students on abuse, child protection. Chrisland School has emphasized the need to educate students on various types of abuse and adequate ways to handle them, while focusing on their mental, physical, educational, social, psychological, and academic well-being. Head, Research and Curriculum Unit, Chrisland Safeguarding Coordinator, Mrs. Oluwakemi Fajemirokun, stated this at this year's Safeguarding and Child Protection Week. Fajemirokun said the event was geared towards enforcing Chrisland's child protection policy and ensuring the students, educators, and parents are enlightened on the importance of child protection and safety. Any thoughts on this, Darren?
Okay, so I always say like it's I don't know if the issue of, let's say, safety or child protection against all forms of ill in the society, if, will I say, it's increased, or maybe it just got more exposed. That is actually what it is. Maybe with the advent technology, like there's exposure. So for me, I would say the most important thing for you to be able to do for your child is to make them realize that they are their own, like they should be able to defend themselves, whether they are being physically abused, emotionally, or like, in fact, I think it starts from building the child's confidence enough to understand that any form of abuse, I don't deserve it. Whoever it is from, I don't deserve it. I think it starts from the mind. And of course, if you're going to start from the mind, it has to be about education, making the child understand limits. And when I say limits, I always say these days, as in we can't shy away from the fact that because of the advent of technology and all that, our children are exposed to more things, no matter how great you are a parent, so I want to protect them from this. By default, if they go to school, they would interact with children. Let's even assume you do everything humanly possible to protect your own child at home from seeing certain things. When they go to school, they interact with people who have seen those things. So it means that you are still exposed. So I always say, like, it is better you just sit that child down and educate them about the kind of things that can happen. Like, for instance, there are sometimes I'll say, oh, I want to get something. And I'll tell my child, if this happens, this is what you do. If they say, mommy, I said, no, I don't mean to scare you. But if this happens, this is what you do. Because the truth is, a child that is ignorant, and you say, oh, ignorance is not bliss. I always say ignorance is not bliss, not in this generation. So you had better be the one giving that child, because that child trusts you, first-hand information as a parent. Then you can now go to the school and say, oh, the school can have it, because children tend to believe from the home, then they believe their teachers in school. So if both parties can like look for a way of like synergizing what they say. So I think, in fact, there should be something like a parent education day where they bring the student parents to school and say, these are the kind of things we are trying to educate the children on. This is the language we are speaking to them, so that the parent is not contradicting what the teacher is saying. And that is one of the easiest places for predators to attack the children. Say, oh, your teacher said this, your mommy said this. Can you see they are not right? I'm the one that is right. So I think a synergy in what educating the parents, then the teachers and school also educating the child. So when there's a synergy, I think we are the better. It presents a better advantage to us to be able to educate the child. And yeah, I think it's a good thing that Chrisland is doing. Don't shy away from it. Let's just talk about it already, and let's get the children educated about the kind of ills that exist.
All right, thank you very much, Jerry. We will just keep going this morning with the headlines. The next headline is Group urges government stakeholders to revive school competitions. A non-governmental organization has called on government and private organizations to revive school competitions as part of efforts to promote the sector. National coordinator of the group, Mr. Fred Iwoha, who made the appeal in Lagos, said investment in education and promotion of competitions among students would resolve and fix the numerous challenges facing the nation. The group, organizer of National Spelling Battle of Champions, has been promoting literacy and learning through competitions, support to children education activities, and excursion, amongst others. Okay, somebody dropped off. Somebody's there. Okay, would you want to say something about this, Olushola Odumide? And welcome to the show this morning, Titi. It's good to have you here.
I want Titi to talk. That's why I'm keeping quiet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she can hear us.
Really, good morning. I didn't know my mic was on. Good morning,
she's
everyone.
there.
It's a good morning and a happy morning, according to Rotimi. Welcome to this Good Morning Education Show.
It's good to hear your voice this morning.
I think the ideas of competition is fantastic. We know that the Team Master Spelling Bee is also, one of those competitions that promoting spellings. I think people need a platform. The platform encourages mastery. It encourages you to be better. It encourages different people to manifest their different skill sets, just as people can do it in sports, when they can do it in exams. So everybody can have their own specialty, and it encourages you. It's like when you're teaching your child a skill, let's say knowing how to use a computer, the violin or any of those. If there's no competition, if there's nothing they're going to showcase, you find that they generally tend to lose interest. If there's no concert, so it also is motivational in terms of why am I doing this, and the fact that I can be recognized for it. So I think competitions are fantastic. We would want them to be in various things so that it's not just in a particular thing, not just in maths, in English, in science. Let there be competition so that children have different opportunities. So I might not be a guru in maths when it comes to the maths competition, but everybody knows me, I'm the spelling bee guru. So I think competitions are fantastic. And so maybe Mr. Rotimi can interject and tell us a bit more of what we should expect with the Team Masters 2021 Spelling Bee.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so Titi has put me on the spot, so I have to. Well, the competition for the 12th edition of
I
the
think
Team
your volume
Masters
is a bit low, or is it just me?
Is it better now?
Just a bit better.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's better now.
Okay, so the competition is actually going to be a great one. We are having about 21 states participating in this 12th edition, and it's for students across both primary and secondary schools. And we are going to be having a hybrid type of competition. So some of the stages will be online, and then we also have the FaceTime events as well. And just like Titi said, I believe that just like other sports, spelling bees actually is considered as an education sport. It's not just a contest or competition, but I believe it's a sport. I believe it's something that grows on the participants, not just within the period of the competition. We've witnessed for the past 12 years, we've witnessed participants, who have gone from participating in the competition to doing great things, both in their school and in the university. I've met people in the airport. I've met people who have testified of how the competition was a tool that boosted their courage, ability to speak in the public. So it's one thing that does several things, apart from winning prizes, winning medals, winning money. I think it produces long-lasting and far-reaching effect and impact on the participants. So I would like to encourage all parents and schools out there to be a part of this year's 12th edition that's taking place in 2021. Registration and deadline of that is October 31st. Thank you.
Okay, so we have heard from the National Spelling Bee voice. I was going to say something else, but yeah, today is not my day of getting you back. So the Team National Spelling Bee is coming up, and we'll have that. We'll have more said about that in the days to come. So we are going right into the topic for this morning, and that's schools on death row. When we hear schools on death row, what exactly does it mean? What comes to mind? Is it like there was a panel, or maybe not a panel, maybe a jury, and the sentence was passed that, oh, this school and that school are not fit to be called schools, or it's time to take them out, to completely take them out of the picture? What exactly comes to mind? And this morning we'll be having discussions around dying brands, schools and dying brands. I know there was a time we talked about living on past glory, and schools that they were great, but right now we can't really say that they are great. And okay, I think the first question I would ask would go to Titi. Is it possible that there are schools that are dead already, but they don't even realize that they are dead? How possible is that?
It's very possible. A lot of schools struggled even before COVID, and then COVID gave like sort of a knockout blow. I know someone that told me that she's getting new students because another school closed down. So the lady now told her parents about her school, the other school, and said this is the option, but she's closing down her school. Some people are keeping the school open just by the thread of their chinny chin chin. That's where we say it. So the COVID was really a major blow. It exposed a lot of the issues that are already there, and even the ones that didn't have issues, it then just gave them some real enticing boxes. That's what I would say.
Thank you for that. And I would ask Olumide Olushola this: how do we know that a school is dead? What are the signs that a school is dead?
Thank you. There are many parameters to measure the deadness or otherwise of a school. We shouldn't forget that there are different stakeholders, and what concerns each stakeholders also comes to the fore. The perception of the school owner is one. The perception of the management and the staff of the school is another. The perception of the parents or the society that patronizes the school is another. That is why each perception casts a sort of shadow on the school. If the owner realizes first, maybe the better. Results is not being turned out as it ought to be. Students are no longer getting values, and the legacy the school is known for or stands for is no longer there. So those can serve as pointers that the school is dying or is dead. And at times, when there is what we call a sort of lack of succession plan from one generation to the other. I think the other day, I can't really figure out the name of the school now, where two siblings took themselves to court. Now, the mother who started the school is late, and one of the siblings is saying, the way my brother is handling money is bad, and put the wife there as a management staff, which ought not to be. Now, already they may not see the school as dead, but to the staff, I think they should be having a sort of exit plan, that the way these guys are going, I hope we are not going to be the sacrificial lamb at the end of the day. Before the whole thing comes down crumbling, let's find out. Then for the parents, when they hear such thing in the news, they know it portends negative publicity. What will be the climate of that school? The teachers faring. So parents also have to think through and say, the way things are going there, I think I need to find a better school for my wards. For the owners, they may not see the sign on the wall, but for the teachers, that school is nosediving. For the public, the parents who are the customers, some of them are see death is imminent, so they will move. So if the owner of the school does not realize, that makes it worse. If outsiders are noticing the trend, they notice that things are not the way it ought to be, I think by the time the owner will wake up, that school will have been dead, because people will have migrated and gone away. But if the owner of the school realizes first that, we're not doing things the way we should do it, I'm not contented with the way we are handling people, handling our children here, the results we are getting, our legacy is no longer there. I think they can reinvent and borrow the school a new lease of life, though in comatose, but they can put the school on a life support, so to say, in order to revive it. So there are many pointers. Salary not being paid as at when due, a sort of high level, high turnover of teachers, staff. If there is high turnover, there's something is wrong. Why are they leaving? Where are they leaving to? Those are some of the, when children are no longer coming, or they are coming, in trickles. We used to have 100 students, first time 100, second time it reduced to 80. By the time we are getting to third term, we are now having 50. There should be a proper diagnosis of the school. Is the disease within the intestine, in the flesh, in the lungs, in the leg, or the eye, or the head? Is the disease visible or not visible? So there must be proper diagnosis, because those are pointers. When the leaf of a tree is turning yellow or is falling off before due time, we should look at the stem. If we can't find anything at the stem, let's go to the root. Are there cankerworms eating it? Are there parasites that has eaten into the root? Those are not visible, but we are seeing visible manifestations of the leaf turning yellow suddenly, falling off suddenly, the fruit becoming stunted. I think these are, and many more could be the parameter. In my own submission, if the owner realizes or the management realizes first, I think there will be a way out. But if the onlooker are the one who realizes first before the owner or the management realize, it may be a serious disaster that may be difficult to recover from. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It feels like we just had schools on the table of a consultant cardiologist this morning. I mean, they have gone really into the heart of the matter, and I'm really hoping that school owners and administrators especially are paying attention to this. Omotola, I would take this to you. What makes or leads to the death of schools or of a school?
Thank you, Finn. I think there are different factors depending on the school. So if you think of it from the private perspective, private schools versus public schools, there might be different reasons, but in general, these are some of the things I think lead to what makes or lead to the death of the school. One, I'll say it's not having a vision and a mission behind what they do. because I think a lot of schools in Nigeria, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, most people, especially from the private sector, especially the schools that are just trying to make it, and they're doing it as a business of, oh, we need money. Yes, they want to impact life, but they're like, oh, this is an opportunity. There's a problem. More people that are in school. Let me open up a school. But they don't have a defining vision, a mission that says, you know what, this is why we actually exist. This is why we cannot afford to die. This is why we cannot afford to dry up in that regard. So I think without a vivid vision of what the future is, without really defining their mission and their vision and what they stand for and the purpose of why the school exists beyond just making money, then it's easier for them to die. So, and that talks about leadership, that talks about development, whether personal or professional in that regard. The second reason I believe that schools die or what leads to school death is lack of seeing school as a business. Can you hear me still?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Okay, thank you. So I think most people they do business in terms of like, oh, as an educational thing, but I think they need most people are not really getting that it is a business, like really like running the school as a real business, as a corporation, as an enterprise, as an organization that has to make money or less it dies. So, and some part of it is like maybe they focus more on execution because they're so overwhelmed with they need to serve the students, they need to make sure they have adequate curriculum and so they don't focus on the input. They focus on the student that they already have, but they're not thinking of their pipeline of okay, how do we bring in more pipeline of students, more people to discover us so that we can continue to have the kind of revenue that can sustain our school. Another part B to that is like they don't have a profit plan beyond just like tuition. In the past few months about this, like educators and school administrators or school owners, they have to think beyond just the tuition payment from the parents. Because if like look at the economy because of the pandemic and everything, that has really changed a lot and now people are hardly able to make it and so sometimes education is becoming optional for most parents sometimes it seems because if schools are dying it's because the people that are supposed to be paying them for tuition are not paying or they're not paying on time or they are not making their full payment in that regard as well. So for a school can die because they don't have other streams of funding sources that can help them sustain the business of doing what they do. So I'll stop there for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Motola. And I'm going, oh, wow, I was going to Dairy right now and she just dropped out of the show. So I would go to Titi and ask this. When a school is on death row, when it's gotten to that point where the death is almost imminent, what effects does it have on those within the school community? That's staff, students, parents. What's the effects on them? Uh,
So who was the question to?
that's for you.
Oh, I thought it was for Rotimi. I actually please just repeat the question again. I thought it was Rotimi.
Okay, so when a school is at a point where it's on life support or it's already on death row or it's even dead, what effects does this have on the school community, on the school ecosystem, parents, staff, students?
Honestly, it's very demotivational. I think that's what I would say. So you know how the students now have to find another school, which can be nearer or further than what they have. Get used to new teachers, a new means of a new way of running things. School fees might be different. There are just so many things. Teachers have lost, their sources of income. They will now have to go and start, looking for employment in the community. Some people will never go back to school. That's just the thing. So maybe that of school had kept them in, but by the time the school closes down, they just stay at home. Come, you follow me to the market. So it really has a a devastating impact on all the stakeholders. So it's really in our best interest to get, schools to survive. It's in best interest of everyone, both future employers of labor. Is in your best interest to ensure that education, the business of education continues, because we need these people. These people are, their input into our lives, input into society. Of course, you know that when children are not educated or fall out of school, the issues with out of school children. So we need both the government and all the stakeholders realizing that they need schools to survive, because they are providing a very valuable service. The economy depends on education. A vibrant economy depends on how educated and knowledgeable, how productive its citizens are. And those things are being enabled by education. So, it's like you realizing how it's so important and you don't allow it to die. So for me, that's really the mindset that everyone needs to have, that every school that dies, that is on death row, it is impacting all of us, and we need to do what we can to help them. I look at one of the key things that schools need to do to survive is the fact that, despite the fact that education is a basic human right, it's still a business and needs someone that understands the mechanics of business to also be at the helm of affairs. So it means that you need someone that bears two caps: one, a business-minded person, and then the technical person. A lot of schools, one of the main reasons why they die or are on death row is really because that business mind is missing. You need to know your numbers. You need to know what are all your expenses. How many students do you need to keep this boat afloat? You need to know that you need to be marketing your school. Yes, some schools can attract students by virtue of their location, but you need to know what are you using to attract the student, what are you using to retain them, because you can attract them and they can leave as fast. What are you using to retain them? So all those things are the mechanics of business that someone in the management needs to be very skilled in. And then, of course, there's the content. There needs to also be someone that is skilled in the content area, the technical area, and the administrative area. Thank you. She's back, so maybe we should just, before she disappears again,
Thank you. I think there was an issue with the internet connection, and thank you so much for especially the part of business. Having somebody at the helm of affairs that understands the business and understands that it's not just about running the school. It's not just about, like you said, attracting. After you have attracted, how do you keep them in the system? That's very, very essential. Thank you so much for that. And so I'll ask Darren this morning, can a dead school be resurrected? Let's just leave it as plainly as that. Can a dead school really come back to life?
I think it can. I really think it can, because I know there was a school that my younger one used to attend when we were younger. It was the main school in the area. And at some point, when was there to like almost flat. And this school, I practically thought they were going to fold up, but the only thing they had was they had a lot of structure, like they had a boarding facility, they had structure. Apparently, the school the vision carrier, which was the woman, passed on, and what happened? I think the woman was running it, and the school was going down. Then as came back, picked up the school. And remember that the school my children currently attend had lost maybe 30% of their pupils to this school that was practically dead last session. Why? One of the employed they had points. So they knew that they were pretty expensive as at then. So what one of the friends they first employed was they brought and when you say like they brought a price rush that you'll be like, That's not possible. Obviously, I know they might not even be breaking even with that price point, but they want people back on their destiny. Because they had the name, they had the structure, they could still ride on that. So, and of course, they employed a lot of PR. PR, they did like, I'm not talking about PR, just radio. Like they did the legwork. They did the legwork. They started going from house to house. Like we are now cheap, that kind of thing. I know if I go ask them, their prices will probably increase a bit, but they wanted to prove their quality first, and they employed a new set of teachers, right? And when I ask myself what went wrong with that school that thing started going down, I remember clearly that they had an ed teacher, they used to refer to as teacher, that started at school with them, and she was like maybe up to 16 years in that school. But at some point, the school owner did not realize that the ed teacher was probably the backbone of that school and did not see the need to keep motivating her. And felt maybe she was trying to take students away from her, something, as in there was, I don't understand that dynamic. But the bottom line is the woman left and the school started nosediving, as in it started nosediving. So which brings to further, sometimes the staff might actually be people that are holding the school together. So, but you as a person, like the other speaker said, is you must identify what is retaining your students, what is retaining, what is putting that school together. When you identify it, then you can hold on to that thing well. Whether it is content, it is people, you must hold on to that thing well and treat that thing well so that you don't even lose them in the first place. But to bring them back, especially if you had a name, PR, and you are able to do a price slash, which is what Nigerians respond to a lot, you can bring it, you can balance off and start making profit later. You can revive a dead school, really.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think one of the good things about this is, unlike in human life, where once death happens, it's almost final. For school, there is hope that you can bring it, bring it back again. Like you have said, we follow the right steps and take the right decision. And as a round off this morning, I will take this to Mr. Eyitayo. Like, is there like, can schools be vaccinated against all of these things that lead to their death? And if there is no vaccine per se, is there something they should be doing periodically to ensure that they stay healthy and stay on top of their game?
All right, thank you very much. I don't know why you have to use the word vaccination, probably because you know I took my second vaccination yesterday and it probably affected me.
Sorry, I missed that. I missed what you said.
You were not meant to hear. Anyways, I think the vaccination for that is growth. Growth is the vaccination. If a school is not growing, then it's dying, and it's two parallel approach. You're either growing as a school or you're dying. Even when some schools still have their operations intact, it doesn't mean they are not dead. It's just a matter of time. So I think that the very first thing that you need to do is to begin to, as a school, come up with a transition map. And in that transition map, you have the element of brand transitioning. Every school must understand within a minimum of two sessions, there must be a cyclical calendar plan that talks about how the brand can transition. Number two, the team transition plan, which also says that your team, like Darren said, when you say the staff are the backbone of the school, the truth is what makes a school is the staff, is the workforce. It's not the building, it's not the facility. So you need to have a team transition plan. Sometimes a lot of people don't realize that staff attrition is one of the symptoms of school death. When you just keep seeing that people keep having a jackpot reality from your school all the time, it is a symptom. It's not something you ignore. So we need to do that. And then, of course, they need to now move into scenarios like digging deep into their service experience. Then, of course, we know, just like in business, the soul of every business is cash flow. But then, of course, the experience flow for a school is what ties it all together. While there's the administrative arm, while there's the teaching arm, the school must begin to think about its promise. And let me tell you this, it might sound somehow, but it's okay for a school to die. There are some schools you should not resuscitate. Let them die and then get them reborn. Because sometimes if some people don't have their brand to die, birthing a new brand is more than training and consulting intervention. Sometimes it takes redesign, and it's best that redesign is done almost like a scratch. There's nothing, you'll be shocked, just like some comeback stories are. It's just that it's not coming in the way I've said it. There are some schools that come back and they can say, look, we were once in our 30th year, we are announcing that we are shutting down this brand. And next year, we are starting a new offshoot of this brand, but this time around, it's girls only. We've looked at our values, we've looked at our service delivery, we've looked at our value offerings, and we are poised for the next 40 years, but we are looking at empowering girls only, looking at the times, looking at the demand of the hour. This is the focus of this school, as opposed to just brand or rebranding elements. That is a school by design, and that is what takes you away from the death row into the life camp, as it were. So I think that it will take audacious steps. You know, people don't like to say that they failed, but you shouldn't make failure be on the lips of the masses. It should be your own script. I should be able to tell Darian, I say, Darian, you know what? I'm shutting that business down, but guess what? I'm revamping it into something else. Because I said it, it is not a loss to me. But the moment it is from the other divide, then it's a score against you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who has contributed to the show this morning. It really feels like we have taken, it feels a little pristine and clinical this morning in the studio. Like we have, we're helping certain schools to get off life support, to get off even being on the death row and bouncing back. And I really, I really hope that those who need this and who are concerned are taking notes, and not just taking notes, are poised to take action to ensure that things run smoothly as much as possible. Even when you want to intentionally shut down a brand and start off another one, it requires planning. It's not just something you jump into and just say, oh, today I'm announcing that I'm done with this brand and I'm coming up with another one. You really should plan and ensure that the new one runs smoothly. And that's the size of our show this morning. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of the show this morning. Thank you, Otola Kishola Olumide, Olushola Olumide, Jerry. Is somebody laughing? Okay. Jerry Adio Adepoju, Titi Adewusi, Rotimi Eitayo. Thank you so much for being here. And to our tribe members, thank you. Thank you for showing up today and being a part of our show. I will be here again tomorrow, even though it's a public holiday. We will be here tomorrow with another package of the show. And we say happy birthday to Nigeria in advance. We hope that this time around, all of us will get the birthday cake. Yeah. Before we round off the show this morning, or we will be rounding off the show this morning in our usual pattern and our usual fashion, with the Titi Adeus sprinkling flair and rounding it off on a happy note this morning. So, team 1, 2, let's go.
It's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show.
Have a great year.
Network don't carry TT away. Why not?
At the wrong time. All right, bye.